We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube. Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How did not get Monday Night Raw?
What's going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Saturday, August 23rd. I'm fired up to be here. We're going to break down last night's SmackDown. We've got a wicked weekend of pro wrestling ahead. We've got Heat Wave tomorrow as well as Forbidden Door with AEW, but today is all about SmackDown, no doubt about it, and I can't do it alone. I've got a sweet crew hanging out with me. First and foremost, let me send this one out to Philadelphia to my co-host of Sold Separately, Anthony Ricciardi. What's going on, my friend? Happy Saturday.
How you doing? It's been a little while since we've done one of these together, since the recording on Thursday for Sold. No, but I'm looking forward to it. It was an interesting SmackDown, and as always, this crew, it always finds interesting paths. So let's get into it.
No doubt about it. Absolutely. And like you said, with this crew, let me introduce the other co-host for today. Send this one to Texas, no doubt about it, to the always controversial, but always on time, Ignacio. How are you, my friend?
I'm wonderful. I just realized something. I had an epiphany, Clark, that looking over these topics, and I sent out a comment before we came on the show asking Ben if we were going to talk about something else. He said no. So now I am convinced that Ben is purposely trying to get me canceled by giving me these topics at hand. He's poking the bear. So let's get on with the show. I'm excited.
It's all a big ruse to get Ignacio canceled.
I have to be honest. When I saw the topics myself, I messaged Ben. I said, "Is there a tape delay on today's episode?"
It's so funny when you started saying that, Ignacio. I was like, "Where's he going with this?" And then as soon as you started saying it, I'm like, "Yeah, I don't blame you. I hear you there." We can talk about that tag match as well at some point if you want, Ignacio. We'll squeeze that in.
Clark, these are the other day's topics.
Those are the other day's topics. That's very good. Let's go back to just so we don't have the red ones in here today. We're just going to stick with it like this. But we're on that's not the right one either.
Not the right ones.
Where are they?
They
went away.
You had them up.
They went away.
We're just up here.
Hang on. Oh, they're down here. Hey. We're back on today's show. Welcome back. Sorry about that. Whoops. Space Cadet over here. And guess what? I even found these. So we could talk about those other topics if you guys wanted to.
I already did. I was on Thursday's show.
So let's obviously start with Becky Lynch turning her back on her home country of Ireland. This cracked me up. Becky's on fire. And, they talk about like the cheap heat, hometown heat, things like that all the time. I thought this actually kind of landed last night compared to the classic insert name of country or city here. And this is the worst place in the world. But I don't know, Anthony. Obviously, you've watched as much wrestling as anybody. What were your thoughts on it?
I loved it. I thought it was genuine. It was real. You know how much being in her home country in Dublin for the first TV that they've ever had at a WWE show was a big deal for her. And, a lot of times we'll complain, they ignore the brand split, this and that. For a show like this, I have no problem with them doing it. I had no issue with it. And I love the fact that she embraced the audience. She talked about as a, young person, she was at a show and Randy Orton caught her eye and it meant the world to her. And then she turned on the dime and did her heel gimmick, which was the smart thing of going, yeah, I know you guys are chanting, you deserve it. You don't, you really don't. And I tried to prevent this from happening. Like, that is just pure brilliance right there from Becky. She knew how to go, okay, I'm really a heel. You're going to need to boo me. I know you're probably not going to want to, but I'm going to make you. She also was able to shut up the CM Punk chants, which I thought was smart. And I think it worked well. The segment I thought really worked well with her. And because you could really tell behind the character, she enjoyed this so much. And that's really cool as a fan to watch that, because you knew how much it meant to her.
I agree. That is one of the cooler parts about it too. And I love the aspect of it. Nia Jax, obviously we all know, broke Becky's nose a long time ago.
Inadvertently created the man. Yes.
So the little bit of history there and Nia being involved in this, I was tickled by. Ignacio, I got to get your thoughts on it though. Did you enjoy it as much as me and Anthony did?
Oh, she's an absolute pro, bro. This is why they had her on the show, because they were in Dublin and she was going to blow the roof off and she was going to be good TV. And that's exactly what it was. The other thing I saw through this segment and into the main event was, the only thing I wrote down is, wow, one of these things is not like the others. Because whenever you have a segment like this and you have somebody as good as Becky Lynch on the show, it just exposes everybody else. And I think it exposed, like when Tiffany came out, to me, that was just, it was total amateur hour. She sounds overtly rehearsed. She's not on par with anybody else, at least the top women, like they want her to be, and it shows. And same thing with Jade Cargill. I didn't have any quarrels about her performance, but I mean, it's just they're trying to push her into the main event scene, and I think she's still struggling. I'm talking about Jade Cargill, and I think it just shows that Tiffany isn't on par with the top main event stars yet, because Becky just went and showed why she's one of the best of all time. Not the best of all time, but definitely top 4. And Nia Jax, she's good to put on any segment, but I just think that Becky's a true pro, and it showed here, and it shows that the other women need to do it, and they have a lot of work to do.
I hear you when it comes to Becky being a pro too, because I think something we kind of almost, not we, but a lot of people probably overlooked last night is it's not easy for Becky to get a Dublin crowd to turn on her. Mm-hmm. And she made it look easy, right? Yeah. Dublin loves Becky Lynch. Ireland loves Becky Lynch, right? Mm-hmm. It'd be like Conor McGregor grabbing the mic in Dublin and making him boo somehow, right? The level of popularity, but she's such a pro, to your point, right? She was able to make it look good. Like, it's
easy so easy.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
I think the problem with Tiffy is the fact that I think she's a naturally a heel. And I think when she does the promos, it feels like it's forced. I think her best bet is almost like an MJF Roddy Piper thing, the heel you love to hate. Like, I feel like that's her better path. Trying to force the babyface thing doesn't feel natural with her. And I think that hurts.
I was going to say something really similar. She has like the, unbelievable athlete, right? Mm-hmm. The pretty girl, mean girl thing going. And there's a lot of, wrestlers on both the men's and women's side that, whether they were a heel in the past and they've now turned babyface and they're sort of trying to be a babyface. With Tiffany, it almost feels like she's trying not to be a heel, as opposed to like trying to play a babyface. She's actually just trying to, if that makes any sense. I know that's a little bit wordy there, but
no,
right? Like it feels like she's just avoiding.
I think that's kind of where it hurts it. Is the fact that it doesn't come off as an extension of herself. It comes off more of she's playing a role, not that she believes in it. And that's relatable to the audience.
Yes.
There's a reason why the ringmaster really didn't work for Austin, because that wasn't genuine him. Stone Cold was. So, they got to stop trying to push her as the face, because it's not working. I'm surprised they're doing it after the disaster of the Mania buildup with Charlotte, because it was really exposed there. So I don't know why they're still trying to push that.
Maybe to me, it's just a little bit of a issue with the fact that there aren't a ton of. I guess the problem is there are baby faces on the SmackDown roster.
Correct.
In the women's division. I was about to try to make an excuse for it, and I just had to. I catch
Charlotte's now a face.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that's
Jade Cargill's a face.
Yes.
That one doesn't make much sense to me either. I think Jade Cargill makes a great heel because she's so physically intimidating. It's hard to pair Jade Cargill. I don't think this is her fault at all. How do you stand somebody opposite Jade Cargill where believably I look at the poster and go, well, Jade will be fighting from underneath. There aren't women on the roster you can say that about.
Nia.
And
Not Nia would be the
Nia would be maybe
one
the only one.
Yeah.
Even with Nia, when they had their match, she picked her up. Right? She's faster than Nia.
Yeah.
And so even then, it's a little bit like that's like where you're doing like Undertaker Brock. It's a little bit of like,
but she's the closest. Is my point. If you're gonna put anybody,
Nia would be I definitely agree with that. Probably the closest. I'm trying to think of maybe anyone else.
Jordan Grace would be
well,
interesting.
they gotta
from the strength standpoint. The strength standpoint, it might be interesting.
What were you saying, Ignacio?
Well, I mean, I think there's women right. I think there's women right now. They need to start looking to bring up from NXT to start developing because they're in development now. I understand, but you have women that they're ready now. Like you got like Jordan Grace, like you know what I mean. She's beloved, and I think she can be a good superhero. Sol Rica, I have my opinions about her, but I mean, that's somebody that you can build on that people legitimately like. So you got people that are well liked in NXT that can jump into a good babyface role with good development.
I would agree. I even think one that gets overlooked that's been main roster ready for a while. Jada's great. Don't get me wrong. I think Jada on the mic is the best of the bunch by far.
She's like Santana, just in the women's side.
Kalani Jordan gets overlooked. She can play a babyface. She's an awesome athlete. Bell to bell, she's probably the best seller in the women's division in NXT, I would say. And her on the main roster, whether it's the IC division type stuff or the United States title, chasing it as a babyface, I think could be really good. I don't think she's going to be the hottest babyface on the main roster right away, but she can work all the heels and competitively put on really good matches.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens on the Raw side with Naomi going out. That's somebody's opportunity to step up. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens on Raw.
Absolutely. Okay. Also, by the way, I feel bad. We have like 1 billion comments and I haven't read any of them yet, but good afternoon, WR crew from Fernando Zayas. DCX Warlord with RIP to Terry Funk and Wyndham Bray Wyatt Rotunda. Absolutely. That anniversary is coming up. Tomorrow will be 2 years since Bray Wyatt passed away. I don't know if you were watching at the time, but me and Anthony were on that show live. Chad live. I think that's the only what is this, episode 971? That is the only time I've cried on air. No doubt about it. My mom with woohoo here. No doubt. DCX Warlord with Becky shut the Punk chants better than her hot American husband ever did. Or shut them down. I think, absolutely. Matt Williams with what happened to Tiffany Stratton from NXT to the main roster. I thought she was pretty good. Now I don't know. I think she's still just as good. I think she's just, it's a wrong role thing. That was kind of what we're just talking about there. You know what I mean, Matt? She's just in the wrong, she's positioned in the wrong way.
There's a difference when you're in the small pond and when you're in the big ocean with sharks. Like it's more exposed, and especially when you're doing something you don't truly believe in, it doesn't help.
And then Matt Williams also with Sol Ruka is going to be the best NXT women's call up. A hot take. I think it's possible. Also, getting over the knee injury that she had and still being as athletic as she is, I got to give a shout out to Sol Ruka for that, because not a lot of people would be wrestling now without a brace this soon after what she had knees wise. That's pretty impressive to me.
And her finisher is impressive.
I mean,
to pull that off with a bad knee to begin with.
I thought that was only a video game thing.
Yeah.
Until I saw her do it. But let's talk about some tag team action here. Mello Don't Miz picks up another victory. I think the clever name Mello Don't Miz at first, I was like, oh, it's so logical. I'm starting to get annoyed with the name and like the team better, which is odd for me. It's a range of emotions surrounding the two.
You're in a glass case.
We're starting to see a version of Miz that I've wanted for a while back. This is Smack Talk Miz. This is a little bit more serious Miz. And Mello needed a boost here. I thought Mello and Trick maybe doing a tag run would be the move. Didn't anticipate the Miz, but it's working in my eyes. How long do you think this lasts, though, Anthony? And what did you think about last night?
I think the interesting part is when you go back and look at Miz's career, when it's all done, he may be one of the most underrated tag team guys in the history of the business. He's had tag team success with a partner after partner after partner. He's been the glue. He knows how to elevate people. And that's one of those things that, like, usually you refer to, Shawn Michaels and AJ Styles. They know how to elevate people. I'm not saying Miz is Shawn Michaels. Calm down. But he knows how to get talent to that next plateau. Melo was drowning for the most part. He had his series with Andrade, fun as can be. He won the Andre. That's never meant anything, despite the fact they try this every year. He got close. He won it and had the chain with the Andre head, and that disappeared within a matter of a couple weeks. So he really needed something. And I don't think Trick was the answer to that. I really don't. My feeling on Trick is I think he's good, but I think he's only as good as who he's up against. I really think Trick on the main roster would suffer the same fate as Melo at this point. Because people love saying whoop that Trick, but it doesn't make any sense because you're essentially chanting for him to get his butt kicked. But it makes sense now as a heel. But anyway, the Melo Miz thing I think is going to be interesting. I think at some point you're going to make Melo a face, obviously turn on Miz. You're stealing my spotlight, or vice versa. Either way, Miz is going to make the attempt to right the course of Melo. Do I think he's got a better chance than, let's say, Andrade did? Probably, if they do the commitment to this. It's going to be interesting what they do with this. SmackDown does have the best tag division, so it's kind of the funny part where it's like you don't necessarily need this team because it's the most stacked division in all of wrestling. But I'm curious to see how far this goes. You got to think the blow off at some pay-per-view. We're coming up. Could it be Survivor Series? Could they do it sooner? I can't imagine they drag it too long because SummerSlam's already passed, so maybe they would do it the first one, and maybe they'll do it for the one on ESPN, the first one, WrestlePalooza. Maybe that's where they'll do it.
That would be interesting, to be honest. And it's funny. I feel like, and you were very complimentary there of The Miz, and I agree. Miz is going to be one of those guys when he's gone that I think we remember more fondly. And he's also proof of just like hanging in there. He took his lick early. He's played every role basically possible in pro wrestling. I think he's a surefire Hall of Famer, and I don't know if I would have said that not that long ago.
I don't think anybody has started their career in wrestling that has been more looked down on because he came from reality TV, and we all know the stories of Benoit throwing him out of the locker room, and now he's like a locker room leader and one of the most respected people backstage. That's so underrated with people that I don't think they realize just how far behind the scenes he built himself up before he built himself up on TV.
He came in with a faux hawk and then couldn't say the phone number on the microphone.
The Divas search, yes.
Yeah, he couldn't even say the number.
Mm-hmm.
He had to like look it up, right? He was like, I remember the number.
Well, I think he wrote it and then it smeared from the sweat because it would, if I remember correctly.
Oops.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
That's too funny. Okay, this cracked me up from Matt Williams. Remember the Miz and Big Show? LOL. Somehow was kind of fresh. Yeah, it was. It actually somehow worked for a second. Think about the partners. R-Truth. I mean, Morrison. Like he's done so much stuff. Oh my gosh, I forgot this even happened. The Miz versus Tatanka. that is a throwback. I would agree. Johnny Nitro did elevate the Miz at that time, but I would say in hindsight, if you're comparing resumes, the Miz is the Hall of Famer. I
believe Miz is a 2-time Grand Slam because he has every one of them multiple times.
That's right. I mean, yeah. What are your thoughts on this, Ignacio? Before we go to a lad read time.
I think they have something. And I get that the end game is probably to split them up, but I think they need to look. I appreciate what they're trying to do with the tag division and trying to elevate it, but I think saying that SmackDown has the best tag division in wrestling, saying like, oh, they're the nicest. He's the nicest guy in prison. I think it equates to that. It's just, yeah, but I think they got something special as a tag team. I think they should just try that for a while. I think they got good chemistry. I think Melo's kind of like a diamond in the rough. I think he's been kind of underutilized. They've been giving him the TV time, but I think his writing hasn't been very good. And I think a good thing to do, if they don't want to go with the Miz, bring up Trick Williams, and have them form the tag team and see what they can do in the tag team division. See if they can elevate it, and because I think they got kind of Harlem Heat written all over them. I think they can be that good.
Oh, I actually like that comparison. I didn't think Harlem Heat, and you know what's interesting is in that comparison, I actually probably see Melo as Booker T.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Even though are Melo and Trick the same age? I think they might be. I'm not sure on that one because I know Stevie Ray was like what,
somewhere around there.
5 or 6 years older than his brother.
Oh, I think more. I think he was like 10, 15.
Okay. Also, just before we go to ad, because I haven't brought up Stevie Ray on air, maybe ever actually in a while, but one of my all-time favorites. How did he put the clothespin in his shoulder blade and wrestle with that when he used to do that? Do you remember when he used to do that?
Yep.
It always gave me the heebie-jeebies when I was a kid. Like, what? Like he's like, yeah, pierce my shoulder blade. It was
very weird.
It was a wild move. Absolutely wild move. Let's talk about.
Hey, listen, it made more sense. It made more sense than Ahmed Johnson being there fighting over the T initial. Let's be real.
That's a valid point.
Big T.
Valid point. All right. Let's talk about our friends over at Barista Coffee. Barista is small batch organic coffee created through excellence, authenticity, and unforgettable moments. Head over to baristacoffee.com. Check it out. There's all kinds of great coffee over there, as well as merchandise. You can get hats, you can get visors. You can also get, if you want to rent basically a coffee shop to go, you can do that through them as well. Go ahead and check that out. I assure you, you will love it. And also, while you are doing us favors, go ahead and head over to Wrestling Republic Undercard, our second channel, and subscribe for exclusive videos, clips, and more. You're going to see sold separately over there with me and Anthony. You're going to see grappling for a position. You're going to see more short form comment and clips, content and clips from the daily broadcast. I assure you, if you like our main page, you will enjoy this one as well. But I won't take up any more of y'all's time because we have more to discuss on today's show. Let's talk about Piper Niven, or as Ben likes to say, Pipper Niven, and a shocking upset victory over Charlotte Flair, which, of course, I think means there's absolutely no chance the Hervis are going to win those tag titles from Flair and Bliss because this was the best that we got. I don't know. Is there any hope, Ignacio? And please don't get canceled. I really like having you on the show.
No, I mean, what was it, last week or the week before? Like, Angie wants an example of what segment shouldn't be on the show. It was this one. This one shouldn't have been on the show. There you go, Exhibit A, Angie. What shouldn't be on the show and actually give some deserving people some TV time. I don't have any quarrels with the match. The match was good for what it's worth, and it's not like Charlotte got beat flat, straight right in the middle of the ring. They had a little help from Chelsea Green, but I just think people involved in this segment in this storyline should be doing other things. Like Charlotte Flair, I mentioned last week when we were doing the scale. I think it's time for her to maybe be part-time and be an attraction and interject her in the main event scene when they need her, or she should be doing what Becky Lynch is doing on the other side and trying to make the U.S. title. And I don't think she needs to be involved in this. I don't think the women's tag team division needs to be a thing. Just because the men have it doesn't mean we got to do it for the women too. And I know I get a lot of backlash for saying stuff like that, but it's true. It's necessary. It's just, we don't need this. And the worst thing that they've done is pair her with Alexa Bliss when, nobody liked her and everybody booed her when she got back, and they just, instead of, trying to do this, they should have leaned into that because she's just the natural heel. She's Charlotte Flair, but they got to pair her with Alexa Bliss, who is an embarrassment in and of herself. She's living off a gimmick of somebody who passed away, who actually had talent. And that's the only reason why she's on TV. And I don't think this is good for Charlotte. I think she should be, like I said, in the main event scene when they interject her, or elevating the United States title. And who's also suffering is Chelsea Green, because I like her with the secret purpose, but I think we need to start branching her off where she can finally become part of the main event scene, because I think she's a little bit overdue for that. Before the crowd says, you know what, okay, you're not going to do anything whether we give up. She's going to be mid-card for the rest of her life or career or whatever. I think they need to do something with her before they turn around and do that.
I think you brought up a lot of interesting points here, especially when it comes to Charlotte. And this might be me like recklessly speculating, but I do actually agree that when what happened with Tiffy happened, writing a heel wave made logical sense. She could have been the biggest heel in the SmackDown women's division, and that's not the route they went. But it's interesting. This might be me just recklessly speculating here, but after watching WWE Unreal and, you know, hearing Charlotte sort of behind the scenes and what has happened in her personal life over the last few years, I don't think Charlotte was ready to go out and have crowds boo her emotionally. That would be my guess. And I think that's why we're a little bit in the position, which I understand. And Charlotte has earned the right to be like, look, I'm like not in the mood to go out and be hated.
That's one of those
bro.
things.
I mean, like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's the thing. I mean, she has spent her majority of her career being booed. That's been her thing. That was her father's thing, is the nature boy. At a certain point, depending upon what you're dealing with in your personal life, it's kind of hard to get that much hate. So I think she wanted some semblance of, you know what, I need some adulation from the crowd. Now, the fact that Alexa Bliss was able to do what no one else has been able to do and get her that babyface pop and give her that babyface run, I have no problem with it. She's earned this at this point. She doesn't have to be there. Let's be real. She's made money in this business. She can branch out, leave the company, go Hollywood. She could do stuff. She doesn't need to be there. She does because she enjoys it. And if you want to try to boost the tag division, try to make an effort to it, I have no issue with that. Chelsea, personally, I'd take the belt off of Tiffany and give it to her because I have way more interest in Chelsea than I do Tiffy. I got to be honest. I know Shot'll be mad, but I see more in Chelsea than I do Tiffy. That's my personal opinion on that.
I actually, I think that's fair. Right this second, I think Chelsea Green has sort of separated herself from a pack because I still think even now, the horsewomen, if you're talking Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky, I almost separate them from the rest of the division, and just like they're on a different scale. I might throw Rhea Ripley in that category too, maybe Bianca Belair as well.
I think they would be the next generation.
Like
those two.
Yeah,
but
they're the next generation.
I agree with you.
Just I recategorize them and I look at the roster from there, right? Because it's hard to make that comparison totally. Now, for me, I think Chelsea Green has separated herself from the pack and has an opportunity to really, really, really be elevated. And a world title would do it. And with the Hervis and all of that, the only thing that I think holds Chelsea Green back on this one at all, just a little bit, is there's just enough comedic aspect that it's hard to take her seriously beating certain talent for the world title.
Yeah, but I think you have the advantage here because she has a stable. So she doesn't have to beat these people cleanly. She's a heel. She's not a baby face. So it works. And she's the type of person that's unique in wrestling in the fact that she gets this, that every moment she has on TV, whether it's a 10-minute segment, whether it's a 5-minute segment, doesn't matter. She makes the most of it. And you could tell. And that is something that a lot of people going, oh, I want more time. I was only given 3 minutes. She'll make the best of it. She doesn't care if she loses. She don't care if she wins. But the audience loves her because they know how much she loves this business, and it comes off well. So I think she's going to be the heel people love to hate as a champion. I give her a Money in the Bank briefcase because I could totally see her do the fake one. Oh, I wasn't ready. Like she's eventually going to win that women's title, and I would take it off Tiffany.
Oh my gosh, this is awesome. On Instagram, ES Wiggles 6 just said that's why Money in the Bank cash-in would be the only way for her to win a main title. Right as you said that. And I thought it was hysterical because like literally it was coming out of your mouth, Money in the Bank. I saw the comment. I was like, no way.
Listen, she could win a Royal Rumble. She could pull the upset Rumble win too. So I think those are her two most likely scenarios. Honestly, or a Queen of the Ring. She would totally play that
Queen of the Ring would be unbelievable. But her hiding throughout the Rumble and
then
winning.
No, well, the idea that they had, the only thing I liked from that Unreal show, and I've only seen highlights, but the only thing I liked about it was that idea for her for winning the Rumble, because that would have been exactly what would have happened with her in her situation. It would have been gold.
It would have been so dang funny. And you and I were at that Rumble too. Chelsea got a great reaction, right?
She did.
that crowd, that was a hot crowd too in Indy. That would have been absolutely hysterical. I think because it was, I mean, no fault of Charlotte's. She did fine, but it was a little bit of a dull reaction at the end there. You know what I mean? I think the reaction to Chelsea would have been similar to even like the Jey Uso reaction. That was just like everyone was so shocked.
It was organic. It was organic.
Right? Yeah. The Jey Uso one was unique to me because it kind of built. Everyone was like, wait a minute. Is that real? Like they paused for a second. And it was like, yeah.
Clark, do you remember I texted you when I was at the Raw after WrestleMania 40? Yeah. And I texted you because I saw the reaction Jay was getting, not when it was on TV, when it was post show with the Yeet, and I'm like, he is going to be in the main. He's going to win a world title this year. Like I mentioned that to you like literally that night.
No, so true, and it was a great call. But let's get on to our main event. Speaking of main events of this afternoon, evening, morning, depends on where you are. But SmackDown ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. We were talking about this and joking about this pre-show, but one thing I do want to talk about when it comes to John Cena and all of this, I enjoyed Cena last night a lot more. I feel like now that the Band-Aid's been ripped off on the heel thing, and I know what I'm getting, you could just see he was more comfortable. It felt like the John Cena of old. Are there two more opposite opponents waiting in the wings for John Cena than Brock Lesnar and Logan Paul? Like, what in the wide world of sports? There are two. Yeah, these things are not like the other, Ignacio. I mean, talk to me about it. Obviously, Logan Paul runs in. We get the cliffhanger. We don't know what the announcement is about Brock. I think it looks like it's going to be the orders. I mean, if I'm guessing cliffhanger-wise, it's going to be Logan, then Brock, or maybe both at the same time eventually. I don't even know how that's going to work. But talk to me about what you thought of last night.
I like it. I enjoyed it a lot. Like, some people have some comments or their views on this John Cena, the retirement tour thing, but I've liked it. I've enjoyed it. I was betting on Logan Paul being John Cena's last opponent. And, now it's like, okay, he's got Logan and he's got Brock, and who's his last opponent going to be? That's still up in the air, but man, I love this segment and I love the cliffhanger at the end. Man, everybody says, I don't know if it was on one of our podcasts or have I heard it on another. Well, who's really a heel nowadays? Like, they cheer. It's like going to a college football game. Everybody has their team, and guys are supposed to be heels. People still cheer from. Well, Logan Paul is the purest and probably most pure and best heel in the business right now. And watching him work the crowd in Dublin yesterday, I'm just like, God, why don't they just give him the belt already? Give him the belt, give him one of the world titles, because who's going to draw more money than him right now? And it's just, he's just such a pro, man. And Cena made that comment. We've only had 23 matches. Well, that's all he's been 4 years, and that's all he's needed to become the top heel in the business right now. And just not to throw it out in here, but the only other person I would regard as pure heel, but even he gets cheered as MJF, and I haven't liked this stuff lately. And if MJF became available tomorrow, WWE wouldn't need him because they got Logan Paul, because Logan Paul is doing the same job that MJF would be doing right now. They don't need MJF because they have Logan Paul. And he's just so good.
I think my fear on that too is Logan Paul can be a better heel in the WWE right now than MJF, maybe, because I'm afraid they'd water MJF down.
Yeah.
MJF, he's burning people, right? And I enjoy that too, right? I thought it was fun this week. But to your point, Logan is the better fit in that role, because it's still. Sorry.
Yeah, you froze up. There,
right. Sorry.
Anyway, you want me to run with this?
No, we're good. On this show and many, we still praise Logan Paul for how much he's done in this short period of time.
Yeah,
often, but he still gets the reactions. That's pretty amazing from Logan, and I think part of it is he's somehow able to still keep this outsider thing, despite the fact that now he really is a wrestler, right? Yeah. He's no longer just the podcaster. Like, he's a wrestler. He's there often enough. He wrestles often enough. and like he's a WWE or a superstar. Sorry about that.
You know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll call it right. I'll call it right now. Earlier than I did Jey Uso, I'll call it that Logan Paul is going to be the winner of the Royal Rumble in Riyadh.
Wow. I still think it's Sami Zayn, but I see you shaking your head there, Anthony. Talk to me about last night, and then maybe we'll get to some Rumble stuff later.
Yeah, it's probably Sammy. Listen, Logan is easily hateable. He just has that personality that you just want to smack him like that. He just has that personality. But I would not put him in the same category of somebody like Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is significantly better as a heel than either of the two people that Ignacio mentioned. Drew, if anybody's winning a world title, it's Drew. He knows how to play this. So, this whole thing, my guess is Cena's taking on Brock at WrestlePalooza, the first ESPN show. That would be the logical move. That's probably where that's taking place. As far as Cena's last opponent, I think that's kind of up in the air. I know there's been a name floated with a countdown, possibly at the Rumble. Maybe he comes out sooner. Not getting into dirt sheets, but people can look, they could find. No, but I think Logan's an interesting person for Cena to face now, because I think the people in the back do respect Logan because he's not a celebrity that's coming in just for the payday, just for the platform. He's putting time in, he's putting in the effort. So Cena, for Cena to give up one of his precious slots for opponents. Now, granted, I know they said, I'm not involved in the booking. I'm like, if they go to him and go, you're working Logan. If Cena don't want to work Logan, Cena ain't working Logan. Like, let's be real. So, I think it's a logical move. Logan's a nice bump in the road to get to Brock, a placeholder. I think probably Cena's last opponent, if I'm guessing, just based on how well he just did a few weeks ago at Saturday Night's Main Event, I think it may be Gunther. Gunther can get that match out of Cena because Cena's kind of struggled through these last few matches. His best one was probably against Cody at SummerSlam. These other matches have not been exactly lighting the world on fire. So, I think Gunther is probably one of the only ones that could get that solid match out of him. So I think Brock's a possibility. I know Cena has thrown out a hint at who he may be facing at WrestlePalooza. I mean, it could be Brock, could be RVD. A couple people, I think online, a couple people have mentioned RVD because WrestlePalooza is technically an ECW pay-per-view. So maybe they would pull that out as an old rival. And like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. My big thing is this. I know they keep saying, his last match is in December. Technically 1 year he started in January. So is it that much of a stretch if he gets attacked in that last show by who I think it may be, if he faces somebody at the Rumble? Because I know he said it's his last Rumble inside the Rumble match, but that's not necessarily last Rumble, and it would be January to January. If we want to be technical.
It's possible. I mean, and I hear where I think the name that you mentioned is right there.
You go.
Matt Williams' comment.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think, though, and what I see happening is there's really one stone left for John to unturn before he retires, and that's winning the Grand Slam, and that's the Intercontinental Championship.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been saying this since the beginning. Petco Park is in San Diego. It's very, very close. It's in the 619 area code. Dominic Mysterio currently holding that IC title, taking on John Cena in San Diego at Petco Park. I love, and if Cena wins that, Gunther, who you mentioned earlier, little Gunther action, could make sense for a retirement match.
To take the Intercontinental back.
That I would love is Jacob Fatu. I would love his last match to be against Jacob Fatu. He can win the IC title then. Cena goes out with a bang. I'm cool with that. There's a couple others.
The problem is Jacob's a face. Maybe face first.
I agree. I'm cool with that though for the finale. Especially given the fact that Rhodes and Cena was face versus face this year. If you build this as face,
No, it
the
wasn't.
second time.
The second
It
time.
very much was. So
Yeah,
at SummerSlam,
I
yeah,
know,
was.
but it
It 100% was.
feisty.
It was face versus face. But then you can actually build it, unlike just the night before you have him come out and lift the veil back.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of Fatu. I like the idea of someone like that going over. But I do think Dom Mysterio needs to be on that list, and it's got to be in San Diego. Whether he does win the IC title or not, I think that one is one you just can't miss.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a logical move. You could even do, if you wanted in San Diego, you could do Dom defending the Intercontinental title against Cena and AJ, because then you get your AJ Cena mix in there. Yeah,
I have no issue with that at all. What do you think about that, Ignacio?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I like that. Man, I just don't know. Gunther would be really good. You know, we can talk about this for another time, but I don't think as highly as Jacob Fatu as everybody else does. Conversation for another time. But Gunther would be really good because he's off TV right now because he's selling injury or what have you. But just to have him come back to have a face-to-face with Cena and challenge him for his last match and put him to rest or kill the legacy of John Cena or whatever you want to do, that'd be pretty good. I like that.
Out to pasture.
I could totally see Gunther cutting a promo and saying I'm going to put you out. Hopefully you don't complain like the last guy I did.
Oh, if he just sneaks in a Goldberg jab,
he's going, he has to.
Sneak a Goldberg jab, that's pretty funny. Okay, I will say that's going to bring us to the end of today's show because we could pretty much talk about this the rest of the day, and we got a lot of stuff coming up this weekend. We will be back tomorrow, but it won't be the same time or the same place. It's going to be immediately following AEW's Forbidden Door, so just keep it locked in on Wrestling Republic socials. We will absolutely have you updated on the exact start time, but we really appreciate everybody tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow and soon. On behalf of me, Ignacio, and Anthony, have a great rest of your Saturday. Talk to you soon.